Welcome the children of, is it Fulton Elementary?
Yes.
Sweet, they're gonna be doing the pledges and sing the national anthem. All right, cool. I call this meeting to order. It is the 14th day of April, 2025. It's 9 a.m. We are in the Aquarium Education Center located at 706 Navigation Circle, Rockport, Texas, 78382. This is a regular meeting. I call to order. Please stand for the invocation.
Please join me as I pray. Father, as always, we're thankful for the blessings of this day and just the great privilege of living in this great county and this great state and great country. And Lord, we just pray your blessings on this county and these commissioners as they conduct the business of this county. We are deeply indebted to our firefighters and emergency people that help fight the brush fires, and we just pray for all those that were affected by the fires of last week, and we just pray that steps will be taken to make them a little safer. And Lord, we just trust you in all those kind of things. We just know you're the great healer, the great physician, and the great guide. And we just pray for these commissioners that will listen to you today and make decisions that benefit the citizens of this county, which in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. Children will want to come up here.
Nothing like a teacher that can get a multitask.
All right.
All right, we're going to say our pledges. We've already done this once this morning, so we're really good at it. Stop and turn around and face the clock. Yeah. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor
Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Big.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so gladly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous skies. Although what so gallantly gleaming, that was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner
Thank you, kids. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all for asking us.
Thank you.
Love to come anytime. Awesome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
I want to thank Commissioner Cheney for setting this up. Appreciate it. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Here.
Commissioner Castelline,
Here.
Commissioner Russo is absent, Commissioner Dutton,
Here.
Judge Garza.
Here, we've got a full court. Also, Ken. All right, okay, we'll do citizens to be heard first. And we have one, Michael Miller.
All right.
Yep.
Michael Miller, Teal Construction, 5110 IH 37 Corpus Christi. Judge and commissioners, appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. Sorry for I'm being here at the last minute. I was decided to go to the office this morning at 8. Print out the documentation that had been posted on Friday. And as I was printing, I refreshed my page and additional documents showed up in the Dropbox. And I know it's been a complaint of several of the commissioners that information is being withheld until the last minute. And I share that frustration. For the past couple of weeks, I've been in negotiations with your consultant from Primestone Group, Neil Sinclair. When he initially reached out, he asked us to provide 3 packages. Package 1 was to include costs to do the additional work, which we provided to the county as promised with 0 fee markup on it. Package 2 was our claim for additional GCs, which we provided as an initial offering to the county for negotiation. And then he asked me to provide a package 3, which is credit for non-compliant work, or what is being described by the architect as non-compliant work. Neil has made it real clear to me that the intent is for that credit to offset any of the additional claims for general conditions that we have requested. About that non-compliant work, we will not be providing a credit to the county for non-compliant work because we have said from the beginning, and we maintain, and we have proof and we have evidence to support that all what is being described as non-compliant work was done at the direction of the architect. This is all surrounding the exterior of the building. And the idea is there's probably in excess of $2 million in many, many months, probably over a year worth of work to tear down the exterior of that building and start over. So that is being used as a gun to our heads to roll over on this thing. And we cannot have our reputation tarnished in such a manner. That is not what we're about at Teal Construction. We are willing to negotiate with the county, but if a credit for that non-compliant work is a non-negotiable, then there is no more negotiations. There were several things that was included in the packet that were added at the last minute, including stuff from Mike Krismer, resumes, which is posturing that the county is attempting to take this to court. And if that's where we're going, that's where we're going. But do not delay anymore. We win this case 10 out of 10 times. So I have a tough decision to make, and we hope you do the right one. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, so we're gonna move some stuff around. Do some house cleaning. I'm gonna strike item number 28. It's the same as item number 27. It's a duplicate, so 28, we're not gonna hear. And then I'm gonna move item number 32, which is entering into a interlocal agreement with the city of Rockport and Aransas County Navigation District for stormwater management drainage solution. And so we're gonna hear this one first. Do I have a motion, or do you want to discuss first?
Discuss first, I move to discuss. I'll second item first.
All right, we got,
Couple of questions that I have about the item. I'm in favor of helping the city and the Nav district move forward. And I don't have a problem with us paying the engineer. But historically, the city and the NAV district haven't been able to agree, and so if we expend the money to hire an engineer. And according to the document, if they don't agree, we're out the money of the engineer. Another thing that I saw in there was just the period of time that the engineer had to come up with a design and come back to it. It seemed shorter than I thought feasible for an engineering company to do.
Okay, have a good day.
Yes, Commissioner, I agree with both of those statements. I have spoken with the NAV district's attorney and I reviewed the interlocal agreement and sent 6 pages worth of notes that said, here's what I think needs to be addressed. One of those is payment terms. Another one is certain procedural steps we have to comply with things that stormwater drainage or streets or culverts with TxDOT. And some of those require at least speaking to the 60 days for the engineer to create a design. I thought that was a bit unreasonable because sometimes designs just take a long time. But also TxDOT has a review requirement at the 30% mark. And most state agencies don't get to work on our timeline. I agree that there are some things here that need to be cleaned up. What I recommended on approval, if approved today, the very first thing that the county is obligated to do is start the procurement process for an engineer. Hypothetically, I think we could do that within those 60 days of our requirement. I believe that is 4A under this agreement. I have a copy if you need one. But I also think that some amendments are appropriate. I have a concern both for the time limits and also for payment and how that will be divided. I think it can be cleaned up. That's the best way that I know how to say that. But also there are some things here that may affect the governmental immunity of all this. And so I think that needs to be cleaned up as well. Like I said, I've spoken to the NAV district's attorney. He's on board with, if this were passed today, immediately starting the amendment process and representing that for all 3 governing bodies to consider. And he's here today if you want to hear directly from him too.
Dougie?
I see Daryl here too. I know they've discussed this extensively in the stormwater committee.
Yes, sir. So on this, the engineer will be picked through the stormwater committee process, which includes City of Rockport member, Francis County, the City of Aransas Pass, and the navigation district. So all the parties will be part of the process of choosing the type of means that we're going to be providing stormwater quality, the plan that the engineer provides, and going over the actual plans themselves. So all the members will be a vital part of that process. Yes, sir.
The Aransas Pass is not in the.
They're not. They are technically they are part of the stormwater technical committee. That's their spot. But
Is this the process that's setting up the stormwater technical committee, or are we gonna?
No, so that was set up last year.
Oh, that's been set up.
Yes.
Okay. I had, along with what you're saying, I had some comments, especially on page 2. It's not set out who's gonna pay for what, when, and where.
So
how are we working that out?
So it is a part of the proposal that the county would handle the costs associated with the study, the stormwater quality study, to come up with the appropriate technology that all the members of the committee agree upon. And then also the county would also be responsible for paying for the design and plans that come of it.
Okay.
And then the next step is the we're gonna go back and forth, approving the plan. And then that plan is given to the city of Rockport to bid out and to acquire a contractor. And then the navigation district or county would be responsible for the construction costs and the inspection costs.
The
And
navigation
speaking,
district and the county.
or county, as the way it's written now, speaking, or, yes, or, they're very important. And, visiting with the navigation district, they mentioned to me in previous conversations that they would, take that cost on.
Commissioner, that's one of the things that needs to be, at least administratively addressed, because, and I only speak on behalf of the county can only let funds leave the treasury in certain ways. And if we are not a party to this contract, that we would not be able to contribute funds.
I don't have any problem with the contract at all, it's just that there's several issues in here that are just not clearly defined, just not defined. And, a lot of it has to do with the cost and how it's sharing. I don't know if that necessarily needs to be part of this particular document, but we need to get that done before we do final agreements on it. The second thing is, in this particular document, there's at least a couple instances where we're using abbreviations and the person 3 years from now wouldn't have a clue what it is. And I marked those out for Adela. But they're important in there, whenever we're doing documents like this, it's going to span more than a reasonable length of time. We've got to be very clear about that. And then, whenever you get down to the later sections where it's talking about the county, the city and the NAV district. The county's involved in everything. You get down to a particular point and the county's not there anymore. There needs to be some definition as to why the county is not there. If you read through this, you can imply that all three entities are involved in everything, and that's just not correct. That's not the case as I understand. So those are just items that I have that are concerning.
Okay, you gonna weigh in?
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I'd like to point out, I'm Tim Tuggy. I'm the attorney for NAP District. I'm joined today by our chairman, Tommy Moore, and Commissioner Judy Vlasic, who are here also to answer any of your questions. In particular, Commissioner Vlasic has been the point person in negotiations with the city. And to your point, Commissioner Cheney, that last part of the agreement, this is really two agreements in one. The last part of the agreement is really focused on resolving the dispute that's been going on between the city and the NAB district. And so you see that standstill language and so forth and so on. And talking to her, Adela, your counsel, the thought was that to the extent we need to do some other amendments to bring the county into that, we could have this agreement blessed today and moving directly into some amendments. There's 3 stopping points in this agreement on the front end. The first one, you are in complete control of all 3 of these stopping points. The first stopping point is you're going to be engaging the engineer to do the design. If you don't like that contract, you're not going to approve it. It's coming back to you immediately. That starts the whole process here. The second is the actual approval of the approval of the design. Once it's finished, that has to circulate to all 3 of these parties. If you don't like it, you don't approve it, it's over. Third part is the actual construction contract, which the city will be engaging in, but either the NAB district or the county will fund. Now I know, and I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I think the NAB district's ready to, if push comes to shove, to be involved with that. We're meeting with the GLO next week to talk about funding, et cetera, et cetera. So that gives you some background, I hope addresses your concerns, and we're ready to do any amendment to clean things up. But, and again, the commissioners are here if you have questions of them.
Well, what you stated to start with gives me a little bit of heartburn too, to consider 2 documents in one. whenever I started reading this, I thought this is what we're gonna do to get everything organized. And then we got down to that final section. It talks about, things that the county is not involved in. Okay, so my question is, in the final agreement, is there gonna be some language set that out that is not part of the county's responsibilities, but, the lawsuits or anything that's going on? Or can we have a separate agreement to that?
Certainly could.
Addendum?
Certainly, well, that's what we were talking about, with an addendum that addresses specifically any additional concerns of the county.
Okay.
I don't see any
That's fine
problem
with
with
me.
that.
I'm all for, us getting this thing done. I know, that the NAV district and the city both have worked very hard on this for a long time. I don't want to be able to stick in the budget. The document we have here, I think needs to be changed.
Right.
And that's it. No, just a little separation, but I look 20 years down the road. You know,
Right.
I'm not gonna be here to answer the questions, you know, and, you know, the judge is gonna be state representative or something.
The government.
That's not.
Work at Bowling Pine.
But anyway. This is a document. I'm not saying it's separate. That's not gonna prevent me from voting for it today, but with those.
Absolutely, Commissioner. We'll make that happen.
So Adela, if we vote on this agreement today as is, so we can get the ball rolling and get the process started. And then, are we locked in if the other entities don't agree to our amendments?
Well,
That's a really good question. So I would rely on the approval language that's in here today. Because it's one big, long statement of if approved, it's conditional upon those amendments.
Okay,
So I guess if those amendments fell apart and weren't approved, then we would not be held under this interlocal agreement.
okay, yes, sir.
in addition, you have a stopping point right away, early on. If your engineer comes back with a design engagement and things haven't moved along well enough to your liking, you're not going to approve it, I would imagine. So you have a safety check right there to begin with. And on the timeline, by the way, that's set out there, that timeline was really at the request of the city, because they're looking to try to get things in the ground there quickly,
Mhm.
hurricane season coming. But there's another provision in the agreement that says very explicitly that if there are delays outside the control of the three parties, then those periods of time are extended. But meantime, I think there's coverage for the county. I think the county attorney may agree with that. Give you a stop.
Chris?
point.
Okay,
I personally think we should amend it before we vote.
all right.
So what would be the timeline to get it in?
I would imagine a couple of weeks, maybe a month at the outside, but certainly before. My suggestion would be that the amendment would come back to you before you vote on the final engagement of your engineer. Because he's got to go through his process of coming forward with a recommendation.
Well, the only problem with that is it looks like you would be changing the rules in the middle of the street, even though it's covered. I agree with Commissioner Cashline is that if it's just 2 weeks to get this ironed out, then I would feel better if we tabled it today and brought it back as the first item for 2 weeks.
No. Okay.
The wording of this document, the way I understand it, Ms. Martinez, will clarify, it basically says that we would be approving this based on amendments to come, right? That's
Correct.
So with this we're approving this in a form where we're expecting more information.
Well, and my only concern about delaying it is we hold up him starting on the procurement, which is going to come back to you anyway. And I don't recommend waiting 2 weeks to start that procurement, which is all going to come back to you in any event. We have no problem with the addendum concept where if it's not done, you don't move forward with your engagement.
All right.
We could approve this today and then maybe in a couple of weeks, have addendums that, we could at least get started on it.
Yep.
If it helps you feel better at all, in my list of 6 pages of notes, I said proposed language. So at least on the county side, to the language that I feel needs to be cleaned up, I've already drafted that. And so it could start, the rehashing that needs to happen between the 3 attorneys. But like I can give you a copy of this, my comments are in blue.
So by passing it today, we can get everything started.
Right away.
And
I think we can get everything started both on the RFQ process for the engineer and for the amendment.
Okay.
At least on my side, the ones that give me pause on behalf of the county are drafted.
Now, why was it that we got this, and we did have the time to look at it on Harvard?
It was,
So, the NAB district has been working with, Road and Bridge with me, David Reed, on draft proposals, between what they were working with the city of Rockport. And until they came to close to negotiation, I did not feel like it was probably prudent to get to our legal and wait and take up her time on something that may or may not happen. So if there's any fault, that would be mine.
very fine. All right, do we have a motion?
Ms. Vlasic.
Can I speak?
Oh, yes, ma'am, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and your consideration. A couple of things I wanted to say. One, Tim has already covered, which is that this has taken us 3 years to get to this point, honestly, and I've been involved in it since then, and I'm really anxious personally to get this accomplished. The way we got here is we started out with the list. We recognized that the city needed to drain a certain area of the city, but we also, the navigation district, we are responsible to make sure that the harbor, Rockport Harbor, which is very critical to this community, we needed to make sure that that was not damaged. So the only way to get there was to pare away things that we could not agree on at this point in time, so that we could, and also the 60 days, as Tim mentioned, that was the city's decision. That was the city's request. We initially said that we needed a longer period of time, but we thought that was more appropriate. But the city said, no, we need to do this. And it's based on the city manager's desire to have this done and be able to put that mitigation or connect up, not necessarily mitigation, but at least to be able to connect Concho Street before the beginning of hurricane season. And so that has driven a lot of this also. So with that, saying that, do you have any questions on this?
Nope.
I mean, this is probably as good as it's going to get at this point in time, and then we will work on these other issues.
I think we all want to help y'all resolve the problem. It's just
That's,
few things in here that financially obligate us that we want to make sure it's.
I think the desire on everyone's part is to pursue some grant money if it's possible. And we will certainly do that. And I think there's a general agreement. I cannot speak about with certainty until we vote on it, but I think the general agreement with the AC&D commissioners is that we could step in with the financial aspect of it.
Well, if we're gonna go for grants, which I think is exactly what we need to do, that 60-day, 90-day timeline will not be.
Well, the agreement we have with the city is that as soon as we get a plan from the engineer and that's approved, at that point, they're allowed to go ahead and connect Concho Street. They don't have to wait until this mitigation, whatever happens, is put in place.
So by signing at this point in time, approving all 3 entities, that means we'd start to address the flooding issue almost immediately. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. And as he said, once we get that initial design and everybody says that looks good, which hopefully would happen in 60, 90 days, and that also was driving it. Trying to allow the city to get this in, to connect Concho Street before hurricane season. So, any other questions?
Sodella.
The way I read this agreement, there's 60 days for us to procure an engineer. And then that engineer has 60 days to conduct a study and do the design. So technically 120 days in June is the start of hurricane season. So to manage expectations,
Yeah.
that might not
To
have.
me, the
been
60
before.
days for the engineer to do the job,
Is-
to do the design seems really short, based on the engineers that we dealt with.
The district is fine if we need to push those dates. We're okay with that. That is gonna be up to the, because I said, this has been driven by the city's desire to hook up Concho as soon as possible. We can speak to the engineer.
With the potential approval of our general engineering tool that we're gonna consider later, I was going to reach out, through the committee to, procure one of those. Is that way we.
And that would shorten our procurement time, but not their performance time.
Absolutely, yes, sir. That would help with that 60 days at least.
Tommy Moore, Francis County Navigation District. I would like to add that the big reason that y'all are involved is we are 100% counting on the Stormwater Technical Committee to lead this charge as designed. If you read through it, it's pretty obvious they're in charge of figuring out what's up and then bringing it back to us as the entities. Once the entities approve a technology, my understanding, Tim cleared this up, not necessarily the engineering. As soon as we all approve the technology, the city can put their pipe in, okay? And the ordinance is out. We are 100% committed, the ACND, to finding the money for these, the stormwater pollution protection equipment. We do not expect the county to do that. We're ready to carry that load. And it's also our opinion that if we can't find the money and nobody finds the money, the ordinance doesn't take effect. We gave it our best shot. Let's keep going. So just in the spirit, we put a lot of things in there so everybody has a way out. Nobody's locked into anything at any point. So I encourage you guys to approve this so we can move forward. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve entering into interlocal cooperation agreement with the City of Rockport and the Aransas County Navigation District for a stormwater management drainage solution in and around the Rockport Harbor area, authorizing the county judge to execute the necessary documents and authorizing the county attorney's office to collaborate with the attorneys representing the city and the navigation district for any amendments thereto. I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second?
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casserly,
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick,
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you all. Now we're gonna move on to our regularly scheduled program. Item number 1.
To approve proclamation P 04/2025. Recognition and support for survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, and human trafficking.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. This is Proclamation P 04/2025, recognition and support for survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, and human trafficking. Whereas the month of April is designated as Sexual Assault Awareness, Domestic Violence Awareness, and Human Traffic Awareness Month, a time for us to come together as a community to raise awareness about the pervasive issues of sexual assault, domestic violence, and human trafficking that affects countless individuals and families across our nation. And whereas we recognize that survivors of these heinous acts demonstrate extraordinary resilience and courage, often facing significant challenges in their journey toward healing and recovery. Whereas sexual assault, domestic violence, and human trafficking are not isolated incidents, but societal issues that require comprehensive action, education, and advocacy to prevent further victimization and to support those who have already suffered. And whereas it is critical to acknowledge the experiences of survivors, validate their feelings, and empower them with the resources necessary to reclaim their lives, dignity, and sense of security. Whereas numerous organizations, shelters, and support services are dedicated to providing essential resources, including counseling, legal assistance, medical care, and safe housing for survivors, ensuring that they are not alone in their struggles. And whereas we commend the tireless efforts of advocates, law enforcement, health professionals, and community members who work diligently to raise awareness, provide support, and create safe environments for survivors to heal. And whereas it is our collective responsibility to educate ourselves and others about the signs of abuse, the importance of consent, and the resources available to those in need, fostering a culture of respect, understanding, and support. Whereas we call upon all citizens to stand in solidarity with survivors, to listen without judgment and support healing. Now therefore, we, the Commissioners Court of Aransas County, do hereby proclaim the month of April as a time to recognize and honor the survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, and human trafficking. Let us commit to raising awareness, providing support, and taking action to ensure that all survivors have access to the resources they need to heal and thrive. During this month, we encourage everyone to participate by wearing teal or placing a teal ribbon out of support of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and participate in local events, educational programs, and community outreach initiatives that focus on prevention and support. Together, we can foster a culture of empowerment and resilience, ensuring that no survivor feels alone in their journey and know that local resources are available. Some of those resources here are ACMSI, There For You, the Well Rockport, South Texas Family Planning, Purple Door Crisis Hotline, and RAINN, that's RAINN.org. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Ladies, would you like to take a photo or? Okay,
And we did bring you some tail ribbons if you want a tail ribbon.
I was thinking about that.
I can,
Okay,
and then I'm going to show you the bags. On a table.
Try not to stand.
Oh, you're, I'm like, no, the proclamation.
Yes, I mean, I'm back there.
Yeah, you're tall.
Yes, yes, please.
I'm just gonna put our teal ribbons on first.
Will be black. I know. Thank you, guys.
So the There For You Summit is this, starts on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 to 5 at the Fulton Convention Center. This is one of our handmade sexual assault care bags that was just made by the Peacemakers by the Bay. And they use the cord in here is from the FEMA cords from Hurricane Harvey when they closed all of the bags. And so there's a bunch of resource in here for each individual who gets those. So thank you for your support. Thank you to our committee as well.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. You didn't bring the tail ribbons? Oh, okay, well, great. I was gonna give them to them.
Thank you, ladies. All right, do I have a motion for item number 2?
I move to approve proclamation P-05-2025, animal care and control appreciation. April 13th through 19th.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Morning.
Good morning, everybody. Proclamation P-05-2025, Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week. Whereas humane treatment of animals is a reflection of our community's values and priorities. And whereas the week of April 13th through the 19th is designated as Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week, a time to recognize a vital contributions of individuals and organizations dedicated to animal welfare. And whereas animal care and control professionals, volunteers, and advocates work tirelessly to protect, rescue, and care for animals in need, ensuring their safety and well-being. And whereas an effect of local shelters, rescues, organizations, and animal control agencies play a significant role in promoting responsible pet ownership, reducing animal housing or homelessness, and educating the public about animal welfare. And whereas we acknowledge the importance of community involvement in supporting these efforts and encourage residents to engage in activities that promote animal welfare, such as volunteering, fostering, and adopting pets. And whereas it is essential to celebrate and appreciate the hard work and dedication of those who strive to improve the lives of animals in our community. And now, therefore, we, the Commissioners Court of Aransas County, do here proclaim the week of April 13th through the 19th as Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week in Aransas County. We urge all residents to recognize and support the invaluable contributions of animal care and control professionals and promote kindness and compassion towards all animals.
All right.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dutnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Would you like to take a picture? Or- Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Right.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 3.
I move to approve the proclamation P 06-2025 National County Government Month.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
All right. Proclamation PO 6/2025, recognizing the month of April as National County Government Month in Aransas County. Whereas the nation's 3,069 counties serving more than 333 million Americans provide essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. And whereas counties fulfill a vast range of responsibilities and deliver services that touch nearly every aspect of our residents' lives. And whereas counties as intergovernmental partners enact local, state, and federal programs to address the needs of all residents. And whereas Aransas County and all counties take pride in our responsibility to protect and enhance the health, well-being, and safety of our residents in efficient and cost-effective ways. And whereas each year since 1991, the National Association of Counties has encouraged counties across the country to elevate awareness of county responsibilities, programs, and services. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Aransas County, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as National County Government Month and encourage all county officials, employees, schools, and residents to participate in county government activities.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dutnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Hi, motion passes. Item number, actually, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. I want to point out a couple of donations. Acknowledge a couple of donations. We got donation from Les and Mary Puckett Children's Foundation, the amount of $2,000 to the Aransas County Public Library. And we've got donation from the Aransas County Retired Teachers Association, the amount of $193.76 to the Aransas County Public Library.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dutnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Item number 9.
Move to approve order number 0-03-2025, an order prohibiting outdoor burning for a period of up to 60 days.
Second that.
Got a motion and a second.
Judge, I'd like to point out on page 2, there's basically a typo word check error on page 2, item B. It states adequate fire suppression equipment in the form of a fire extinguisher or water house attached to water supply should be water hose.
All right, let me make that correction. Was there a second?
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dutnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. It passes. Item number 10.
Move to approve accepting the 2024 annual Aransas County Library Report, Texas State Library, and authorize the county judge to sign.
Second.
Good morning, Miss Iris. Got a motion and a second.
Thank you. It's our annual, apparently it's our accreditation for the Aransas County Library that we submit to the state library every year. That's what it's,
A lot of information.
that's what they ask.
All right, roll call.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dutnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, it passes. Item number 11.
I move to approve accepting the permanent 20-foot wide drainage easement from Charles Rourke as depicted on the attachment in the exhibit. Authorize the county judge to execute necessary documents and direct the conveyance documents to be recorded in the office of the Aransas County Clerk.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Good morning, Judge,
Morning, Darrell.
Commissioners. Mr. Rourke was kind enough to work with our construction crews out on that southeast Aransas County drainage project to allow us to drain water from the intersection of Arena and Longoria Road into one of his ponds on site. And over that job, we improved all the ditches along that southeast section of the county.
I want to make a comment about Mr. Work. He has been very, very helpful to me as a commissioner and also to his neighbors around. This is like a third thing we've dealt with over the time I've been here. I really appreciate it.
All right, roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dudnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 12.
Move to approve accepting a permanent 30-foot wide drainage easement from Troy or as depicted on the tax exhibit. Authorize the county judge to execute necessary documents and direct the conveyance documents to be reported in the office of the Aransas County Clerk.
Got a motion and a second.
By the county taking water to that pond, Mr. Rourke also worked with us on overflow strategy. Then, in the event that the pond were to fill up, we could we would have an outfall that took it towards the direction of 35 business.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dudnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 13.
To approve accepting a permanent easement from Michael Dale as depicted on the attached exhibit. Authorize the county judge to execute necessary documents and direct that conveyance documents to be reported in the office of the Aransas County Clerk.
I'll second that.
Got a motion second.
On that same southeast Aransas County drainage project, we worked with Mr. Deo to also provide drainage across his property onto one of his ponds as well, and that was at the intersection of Arena and Rodeo.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dudnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 14.
Move to approve authorizing the environmental health transfer station to awards the bid for 2025 brush grinding contract to Austin Wood Recycling Incorporated and approve the hiring resolution R08-2025. Resolution selecting and awarding the contract for the brush grinding services for Aransas County Environmental Health Department. Authorize the county judge to execute necessary documents providing for severs invalid provisions and confirming compliance with the Open Meetings Act.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Morning, Eric.
Tony's out today, so if you have any questions, be happy to assist.
I do have a question on the rankings as far as that goes, which, I can understand Austin Wood, but as far as the last section about the haul off.
Yes.
Material. Now, is Earth Code going to be doing that?
No, talking with Tony, the county recently purchased two 18-wheeler loads of mulch. So at this point, we've opted to retain everything that's ground this year. So we'll retain it and try to use it. Yes.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Eric. Any other?
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo. Sorry. Commissioner Dudnick. Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Yeah, it's kind of throwing me off. Too. Item number 15.
Approve allowing the Aransas County Public Library to apply for an ACB grant in the amount of $400.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Pretty straightforward. Any questions?
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dudnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 16.
Move to approve permission for Aransas County Animal Care Services to seek and apply for grants that support Aransas County animal care.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second? Would you like to speak? Nope, we can. You'll have questions? All right.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dudnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 17.
approve allowing the airport manager to publish a request for qualifications for airport engineering and design services for capital projects.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Geary, good morning.
Good morning. The county, put out an RFQ for county engineering, for such things as road projects, drainage, master planning. And, in that, RFQ, there was a kind of a cafeteria style plan. Tell us what you want to, or what you'd like to submit your package to support, whether it be one of those things I mentioned. But we didn't actually have airports on there. It was just said, we just had open space for if there's anything that we didn't mention that you could provide engineering for, listed. Well, out of the 14 or 15 respondents, only one put that they could do airport. Even though several of the respondents had done airport work, and in fact, their packages were heavy with airport projects, we can't really count them toward to use toward airport projects because they didn't list it specifically. So having received only one, procurement department, Eric and I got together and felt that the best course of action is to put it back out for airport specific projects. And then because there are engineering firms that specifically work on airports within the state of Texas that feel like we'd be doing the best job for the county and for the airport to find one of those engineers for airport work.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dutnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 18.
Move to approve accepting and approving the as-built drawings for Aransas County Airport field lighting generator, Texas Division of Emergency Management Hazardous Mitigation Grant Project VR 4332-0197 for Aransas County, Texas, and authorize the county judge to sign a letter of as-built approval. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Oh,
Morning, Judge, morning, Commissioners. This has gone through G&W, our engineering firm, and through GrantWorks. So they both have approved the as-bills, and now it's just the time for the county to go ahead and approve them.
all right.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dutnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 19.
I move to approve accepting the Aransas County Airport field lighting generator, Texas Division of Emergency Management Hazard Mitigation Grant Project number DR-4322-0197 for Aransas County, Texas, as complete, and authorize the county judge to sign a certificate of construction completion and accept the customer's guarantee.
Contractor's guarantee.
I'm sorry, Rick. It says customer's guarantee.
Is that the same grant as before?
It should be contract,
Which number is correct? 43232 or 4332?
It should be 4332.
What's the typo on that?
Yeah.
That's a typo.
They should all be the same number, right?
Yeah, 4332.
432.
Hurricane Harvey is designated by FEMA as DR 4332, that's disaster recovery. So anything related to Hurricane Harvey, regardless of the state, in the state of Texas, is 4332.
And it is
Also correct this to accept contractors
guarantee.
guarantee.
Correct. Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dutnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 20.
Move to approve accepting and approving as-built drawings for the Aransas County Road and Bridge Office Generator, Texas Division of Emergency Management Hazardous Mitigation Grant Project DR 4332-0212 for Aransas County, Texas, and authorize the county judge to sign a letter of as-built approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dutnick.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 21.
Move to approve accepting Aransas County Road and Bridge Office Generator, Texas Department of Emergency Management Hazardous Mitigation Grant Project DR 4332-0202 for Aransas County, Texas, as complete, and authorize the county judge to sign a certificate of construction completion and accept a contractor's guarantee.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 23.
Move to approve accepting change order number 01 for Aransas County Transfer Station generator, road and bridge office generator. Texas.
Skip 22.
That was heard. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're right.
That's the correction.
My bad. I wrote the wrong note. Let's move on to number 22.
Move to approve accepting change order number 01 for the Aransas County Transfer Station generator, road and bridge office generator, Texas Division of Emergency Management.
That one has one.
I got the wrong
You have to
agenda.
read it off the motion. That's when you have to
Oh,
read off the
I'm
motion.
sorry, that's the one you pointed out. Okay,
You're gonna need to read off the ones I give you.
all right. Move to approve change order.
Sorry about that, Commissioner. Number 22.
Yeah. I got it. I move to approve accepting change order number 01 for Aransas County Transfer Station Generator, Texas Division of Emergency Management Hazard Mitigation Grant Project number DR 43320203 for Aransas County, Texas for $1,500. And authorize the county judge to accept and sign the change order. Read it.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second.
So this is the generator that is sitting on the transfer station is not connected to any building. It was designed that way, so we have been waiting since December for Tatum to give us a scope modification. They have not done that. However, our contractor has completed. So he's going to give us back $1,500 credit for the startup costs. And the county will take care of the rest.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 23 again, sorry.
I move to approve accepting and approving as-built drawings for the Aransas County Transfer Station generator, Texas Department of Emergency Management Hazardous Mitigation Grant Project DR 4332-2-0203 for Aransas County, Texas, and authorize county judge to sign a letter of as-built approval.
Second.
Got a motion and second.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 24.
Move to approve accepting the Aransas County Transfer Station generator, Texas Division Emergency Management Hazard Mitigation Grant Project DR 432-0203 for Aransas County, Texas, as complete, and to authorize county judge to sign certificate of construction completion and accept contractor's guarantee.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 25.
Performance time extension request for Aransas County Fulton Elementary Generator. Texas Division Emergency Management Hazard Mitigation Grant Project ER 4332-0200 from July 28, 2005. Is that correct? Should be 2025 to May 22nd, 2026, and authorize county judge to sign and execute all necessary documents.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
So again, we're just waiting for an extension from the Texas Texas Division of Emergency Management. We meet with them monthly. We've been requesting it. So again,
Thought the school didn't want to pay the match on it, sort of set a different grant.
they're still working on that. It depends on if we can get the match down to 75-25.
All right.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 26.
Approve a period of performance time extension request for Aransas County Emergency Operations Public Safety Generator, Texas Department of Emergency Management Hazardous Mitigation Grant Project DR 4332-0196 from May 22nd of 2023 to May the 22nd of 2026, and authorize the county judge to sign and execute all necessary documents.
Second.
And again, we're waiting for an extension from.
I believe there needs to be an amendment, beginning from May 22nd of 2023, should read 2025.
No, it's 2023.
It is 2023?
Yep.
Okay. Good. All right, Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castellane.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 27.
I move to approve a request to withdraw the Aransas County Environmental Health Generator, Texas Division of Emergency Management Hazard Mitigation Grant Project DR 43320199, and request that the funds
Be reallocated.
be allocated to, or should the B been, should the B be eliminated from that? Maybe it should be B
Be
allocated to remaining DR 4332 Hurricane Harvey grant projects, authorizing county judge to sign and execute all necessary documents.
Second. Question on that, why are we doing this?
Because it's been determined that the generator that's already sitting out there, that was moved to the ARPA funds, is large enough to do animal control, AgriLife, and the Environmental Health Office. Plus, the county share is around $83,000. So if we did go ahead and get this generator, the county would have to pay $83,000 for the generator, which we've determined basically, it'll be cheaper for us to hook up environmental health to the generator that's already large enough.
Well, I thought we discussed this and ARPA wouldn't let us do that, when they're.
So once, June 12th, I believe, is when our warranty with that generator expires, and then we would be able to do that.
It was tied strictly to the warranty performance. We couldn't tie into that generator with any additional load.
Okay, so it was a performance issue rather than a grant issue.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
And the generator's more than adequate. We looked at the size and it's more than adequate to take care of the additional load from the environmental building plus extra.
Nice. Good.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castellane.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Struck number 28, it was a repeat. Item number 29.
Move to approve request to withdraw low pay drainage improvements, which was applied for on behalf of Aransas County Navigation District, Texas Division of Emergency Management Hazard Mitigation Grant Project DR 43320069, and request that the funds be reallocated to the remaining DR 4332 Hurricane Harvey projects, authorized the county judge to sign and execute all necessary documents.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second.
So the navigation district had reviewed the plan or the engineer plans for this project, and they determined that it was not going to be useful for their need. So we're going to go ahead and basically withdraw the project and ask for the monies to be reallocated to our other drainage or our other coastal projects.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castellane.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 30.
Move to approve awarding the grant administrator for future grant works and authorizing the county judge to sign all necessary documents, including the notice of award to grant work.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Good morning.
Good morning. We received 3 responses. GrantWorks was the highest rated responder.
Does that, like an absolute decision that we can't ever use anybody else once we do this?
No, we can. So this is for our major capital projects. We can go out for RFPs for any other projects that we want.
And y'all have no complaints, right? You have no complaints working with Grant
No,
Works?
they've
Oh, yeah.
been.
Yeah, they're good.
You never know what's gonna make this.
Yeah. All right.
Commissioner Cheney. Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Dupnick. Judge Garza.
Hi, motion passes. Item number 31.
To approve accepting the funds of engineering firms for engineering services for future capital projects. And create a pre-approved pool of engineers with an initial term through December 31st, 2025. With 4 1-year optional renewals, which include the Ramsey County District.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Got
a question
Yes.
before we go. On that motion, is it through the end of this year?
Yes.
Or is it through the end of next year?
To the end of
Through the end of this year.
Also, okay, I just wanted the dates right.
So I just want to remind everyone the background on this. The commissioners approved soliciting RFQs for engineering firms for engineering services for future capital projects. The purpose was to create a pre-approved pool of qualified engineering firms that would expedite the acquisition of engineering for future capital improvement projects and to meet application deadlines for grants. A contract will only be entered in as projects arise with the most qualified engineer from the pre-approved pool, and no funds will be paid unless there is a contract for a proposed project. We received 15 RFQ responses for a variety of specialties, ranging from civil engineering to coastal engineering, as well as master planners and traffic engineers. Moving forward, the county will have the option to score and choose from this pre-approved list of engineers as projects arise, or request RFQs for projects, specific projects if there's not a qualified engineer in that pool.
So, if you go out for another grant for everything, we can legally just pick one or just limit our RFQs to a different pool.
What we could do is look at that pool and we could score the proposals in for those specialties that they physically have to check what specialties they want to be considered for. And
select that.
and then we could either score them, we could actually bring them in, and they could do a presentation. We could maybe get 2 or 3 to come in for a presentation. We have several different options.
So can y'all kind of read into the record or whatever, how we get the authority to do this?
So I reached out to the comptroller, and I received a response from Amy Thomas, MSPI. She's a research and policy development specialist. I told her that in Government Code 2254, I could not find where I can do it. And so her response, specifically 2254.003, does not explicitly allow or prohibit a professional services pool. We would be required to select the most qualified provider for each specific engagement rather than assigning work automatically. So we'll be required to retain the original responses. And so if you are a rater on one of the upcoming projects, I'll pull the original responses from the engineers. You, Commissioner Casterline, and Daryl would do your ratings off of the original responses. So we wouldn't constantly be reaching back and forth, getting information from them.
How often would we look to review that pool? Would do it once a year, once every 5 years?
So we have the right to go back out at the end of the year. So we can do December 31st would be contract termination if we so chose. We can do next year's as well. Just depends on what
And
Daryl decides to do.
remember, these are for the general engineers. Oftentimes projects, they will use additional engineers as subcontractors, and that does not eliminate those other engineers.
That would be our first engineer to start with.
Yes, sir. That would be the general engineer, the main engineer.
And whose responsibility would it be to bring that back to the court? Would be yours?
Yes, Eric and I would look at, review it. If we get a lot of feedback, I know that there's one engineer that didn't submit. And so if they wanted to get onto that pool, then that, we select enough of those that we go out for.
Okay, but once we select it, we'll keep it for at least a year?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Theoretically, this pool of engineers could be used when we were talking about Item 32 earlier about
Yes.
interlocal agreement, this would be a resource for those engineers to speed up the process.
Absolutely, yes, sir. We've got at least 5, or I believe, in that storm sewer category.
And that's one that we could put 3 committee or 5-person committee together this week and have it rated and have it ready next week.
Well,
So-
and that is gonna go through the rating is actually gonna go through the stormwater technical committee. Yes, sir. We would do that.
Is that a list on our packet?
I'm sorry, sir.
Can you give us a copy of the list of all of it?
I believe.
I don't need it right now, just whenever you
It
get
might have been
it.
included.
Could be.
Yeah.
Like the pools?
It's a packet.
Are you asking about the pools, Commissioner?
Yeah, the pool.
I can print that and put it in your boxes.
I'll get that.
I'll do that.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castellane.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, so we've heard 32, move on to 33.
Move to approve rescinding the approval of change order number 3 and change order number 4. And approve the revived change order number 3 and revived change order number 4 for the construction contract for Southwest Aransas County Drainage Improvement and the county's general land office community development block grant disaster relief contract 20-065-098 C270 LCR Total Transport LLC on the revised change order number 3. Request a decrease in the contract amount from $3,454.19, an increase in the contract time by additional 24 days. LCR Transport LLC on the revised change order number 4. Request an increase in the contract time by an additional 30 days.
I'll second that.
Got a motion second.
The short answer to this is under pay request number 16 on the Southwest Aransas County Drainage Improvement Project. It denotes that under change order 3, there was an additional deduction of $14,250 for mailbox replacement that did not make it actually onto that change order. And we've since paid that partial pay request. So this is basically a housekeeping to bring the change order 3 to include that reduction. And so so the total contract amount had to be changed on change order 3. And then change order 4 was just the time, but it included the incorrect total contract amount. So that's what brings us into compliance.
Would you repeat that?
Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castellane.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, passes. Number 34.
Move to approve change order 5 for construction contract for Southwest Aransas County drainage improvements in the county's general land office community development block grant disaster relief contract number 20-065-098-C270. LCR Transport LLC requests increase in the contract amount by $764,399.70 and an increase in the contract time by an additional 92 days.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second.
Where we get the 764?
This is part of that 25% addition that was applied to the total contract amount. And this will get it up to, I believe, 24.21%. So we're not leaving much left on this project. This is for the net increase on the construction cost for roadway reconstruction for Sawyer Lane, Jocelyn Road, Murphy Road, Armstrong Road, Johnson Road, and Kirby Road from the 35 bypass to 1069. And then the additional days brings the contract end date to June 30th of 25.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castellane.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Number 35.
I move to approve invoking the procurement exemption for emergency medical services even as.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Yes, sir. It is my understanding that our EMS services contract expired December 31st, 2024. There is an exemption allowed under the public health, an exemption to procurement under the public health umbrella, if you will. It has to be done by order of the commissioner's court. That order must then be recorded in the minutes. So this one is to just discuss if you have any questions about that procurement exemption. The next one would be approval of the actual order, and then the commissioner's court instructing the auditor's office and the county attorney's office to do a regular contract negotiation.
So the first one is just invoking the procurement exemption. That's what this one is. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleton.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo, sorry, Commissioner Dukenyak. Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 36.
Move to approve I'll move to approve issuing an order granting a procurement exemption for emergency medical services and authorizing the county attorney's office and the county auditor's office to begin contract negotiations with Allegiance EMS.
Second.
A motion and a second. It's already explained.
Yes, and hypothetically, right now, we have a contract, or our latest contract was with Allegiance EMS. And I believe they presented to the commissioner's court during the budget hearings. So the auditor's office would like to continue services to that company. So we need a new contract.
All right.
Commissioner Cheney. Commissioner Castleton.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 37.
Move to discuss various topics regarding the downtown Anchor project and the status of the construction project of the new Aransas County.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Today, commissioners, I broke this up into two different elements. I think there's a couple of things that need to be presented to you, and then I want you to also have the option to select which ones you can approve today, if any. And then I have also reserved time to discuss this in closed session if you so choose. In general, I have a handful of updates for you. I want you to understand what is permissible both under the law and under the contract. So I'm going to give you my general overview.
Real quick, we don't have anything to review in front of us.
I'm talking about the agenda memo.
The background.
Do you have it?
Yes, the background.
I must
Yes.
have lost mine.
Can give you mine and pull up my saved copy of that to you.
I don't have it.
Discuss it.
Yeah.
We could, yes, sir. And then reserve it, any action for the outback? Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're gonna reserve this for closed session. All right. Do we need to take a vote on what the motion on the floor? Oh, it's just a discussion. So no. We'll move on to 38. We're gonna discuss 37 closed.
I move to approve taking action. on Oh, that,
If we're gonna discuss.
that would be
it first.
afterwards, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna go down to number 39.
Yes, sir.
Move to approve the Aransas County Indigent Healthcare Report for March 2025.
Second.
I'm online. Do y'all have any questions?
Got a motion and a second. You have any questions for Alma?
Can y'all hear me?
I'm Lisa Balter, the Chief Deputy Treasurer, here representing Alma with the indigent report. It is a little bit higher this time. She had indicated that there were client in hospital for 6 days, another client in the hospital for 14 days, another client in the hospital for 8 days, and maxed out their benefits at $30,000 due to a major surgery. So the total expenditures were $87,434.13.
And these were all members of the public, correct?
All right.
Yes, and Alma is online if you have any additional questions for her on this.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
Commissioner Duke. Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 40.
I move to recognize the Aransas County Workers' Compensation Program for zero lost time for in 2024.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Ms. Desiree, you want to elaborate on this, please?
Good morning. Jack and I just wanted y'all to be aware that we received that award. Basically, we're just trying to put safety at the forefront of everybody's mind. We've been trying to do that since I started late 2023, and I think Rebecca and I and department heads have done a good job of doing that. So, I mean, the award makes that kind of evident.
Very good, everybody.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Duke. Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 41.
To approve the December 2024 auditor's monthly report.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
I don't know if anybody has questions. I can do my best to answer.
No.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Duke.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 42.
Move to approve the January through March 2025 auditor's monthly report.
I'll second that.
Can't believe we're not making you get up and talk.
No.
What you, every page, no.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Duke.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 43.
Move to approve budget line items.
There are none.
I need a second.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Duke.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. Item 44.
Move to approve accounts payable and payroll liabilities.
Second.
Motion and second. Want to elaborate?
They're all regular liabilities as well, with payroll, as you know, not really even anything to point out for capital. Very little. The only, more so the capital fund was our grants for Operation Lone Star and, our SB 22. Also were very small.
All right.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleline.
Aye.
Commissioner Duke.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye. Item 45.
I think that's a or
That's a duplicate.
Oh, it's a duplicate? All right, so 45 is out of here. All right, at this time, we'll hear reports from commissioners, elected officials, and department heads. No action will be taken. Sheriff?
Bring it towards attention, we're completed week 3 this last Sunday. We have brought AA into the jail environment. Did it after a survey we took and had a pretty overwhelming response from inmates that were interested. And so we're small groups, don't have the room or the personnel on either side to put them in a big group, but we're doing 7 and 8 at a time on Sundays. That has been 3 weeks in case you hear any word or get any questions. Just a new avenue we're trying to pursue in there and see if we can't help people upon their release.
Appreciate it. Anybody else?
To especially thank the judge and Mike Beer for their hour after hour after hour of service on the fire that we did. The fire in my precinct was significant. It burned several buildings, several homes, everything. We had people that came all the way from Montana. The mayor of the town that he was from in Montana came down here, and they really worked at it. That shows what South Texas and Texas as a whole is about helping people. And I was just amazed. You know, we had the fire start on Tuesday, I think, maybe late Monday, Tuesday. We thought it was out, then it started again and went Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Two different fires. Oh, Mike, would you address that?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, so just to clarify, we're talking about 2 different fires.
Right,
One started on Tuesday, yeah, that's the Woods fire. it was declared contained prior to the Salt Flats fire sparking off. And so two different fires, and we'll do an after action discussion and ultimately report on both, but they're gonna be treated as two separate incidents.
Good.
So that's number one, but you're right, that we did have assets from everywhere that showed up on the Woods fire. We had conditions were right following the fire, so we knew that there could be potential for another spark off somewhere in that area. So it was a lot of the same agencies came back, but for the Salt Flats fire, we had 42, I think, agencies, 250 personnel fought it. At the time that Judge Garza and I went out to the scene to kind of do an overall evaluation of what we were going to do with the emergency operations center, whether we were going to activate or not. It looked like we were going to need to activate. We had a lot of homes in danger. I know we ended up losing 18 residences. I think that's, I don't know how many mailboxes or actual addresses were affected exactly, but 18 places where people live were affected, destroyed. But it looked like it was gonna be a lot more than that. Enchanted Oaks RV Park was extremely threatened. We were trying to get folks out of there and get their RVs out, get their assets out so they could, potentially save them. But nevertheless, when we made the decision that we were gonna stand up the EOC and activate, it looked like we were gonna have to start pulling levers from that location, and then the air assets came in. And that's again, going back to the Myrtle fire, 2023, it's kind of changing the way that we're going to fight wildfires around here. If you got daylight hours, if you've got good visibility, then we're going to try to call the air assets to protect the homes. And so when we did stand up the EOC, the effect of the air assets has been significant enough that we really didn't have to do a whole lot from that location. Incident command on the Salt Flats fire, on the Woods fire, as good as I've ever seen. The chiefs and the folks that were involved in that, I've never seen it better. They had mutual aid agreements and MOUs that they enforced immediately. And we really didn't have to do a whole lot from the large management side of this incident. There's a lot to do now, but on the day of that it was happening, there wasn't a whole lot for us to do there. That's a testament to their ability.
Well,
what I'm trying to get at.
And another thing too, I drove the whole area 4 times now. And it just amazed me how you could always tell where the firemen had been because they were cutting breaks and stuff like that.
Tracks in the black too.
We lost, how many did you say?
18 residences is the official.
We could have easily lost 50.
Very easily, Enchanted Oaks is a good example. The fire burned all the way around it. Before they got to the bypass.
That one video, I would bet money there was nothing left there, because that fire of the way station, and with that in the background, you would have thought that it.
Well, we moved vehicles from the way station 5 minutes before the fire.
We were there a couple of minutes. I mean, I just went around the bypass whenever.
Had he not done that, we would have lost vehicles. You saw you were there. I was on the other side before, as it was trying to jump the bypass. I was getting burned by embers on the other side of the bypass. So it was always going to go across the bypass.
On a more comical note, who names fires?
That's got to be Texas A&M Fire Forestry Service. I think they're the ones that are responsible for naming the fires, and then also they're the ones that are responsible for the percentage of containment.
In my mind, I was trying to calculate how many miles it was to a salt flat. It's miles and miles to a salt flat.
You're right. We can have any input on that in the future.
It doesn't matter what the name is. I just kind of wondered how they came up with that one.
And we need to thank the sheriff and all law enforcement, DPS and how they handle the traffic. That was not a calm day. I mean, there was hundreds and hundreds of vehicles that were, just on normal transfer.
And they were also working, they were also working 2 vehicle accidents around the same time the fire had started. So the sheriff's department, which I know is short staff right now, was extended out pretty well from that standpoint.
Actually, I always started Wednesday with a major on Causeway and then ended the day with a major liable for Memphis. I want to add a couple of things to what Mike said. Number one, I want to acknowledge what Mike commented, the Orange County Emergency Corps through fire departments are exceptionally well versed in their plans. I stood there and watched their operations at the table for a while and was impressed as well. But for people that, I really believe the air assets save our rear. If that plane had been 30 minutes later, we'd have been at 1069 fighting the fire.
That's right.
And for people that weren't out there, and I'm not asking you to come to the next one, but you've got to be there to understand and truly respect how fast that fire moves across the brush with the dead and the load that we've got under it. It's incredibly dangerous out there today. And the people that, I posted the deal on our site Friday or Thursday, trying to encourage people that to really acknowledge the burn ban. And when it's lifted, just because it rained one day, it gets perfect grass green underneath. And while you were out there on some of those roads on Kluge Trail, when it jumped there, you heard the fire long before you ever saw it.
Yeah.
As it was racing across the tops of the trees. And we're still a kid, dry box out here waiting for another spark. But the air assets really came in at a timely deal, and I know they're not located as close as we'd like to have them sometimes, but it's something that we will in the future, I think, need to consider initializing as soon as we have the opportunity, if visibility allows. Because that's what stopped that thing. And if this had happened last Sunday when we had 45 and 50 mile an hour winds, we'd have been at Fort Bayer, Coconut back there fighting this thing. But everybody needs to be mindful of that. It's everybody's responsibility out yonder. But it was quite an effort from a lot of resources, and appreciate y'all supporting that.
Mike, how many different communities, how many different fire departments showed up just roughly, and how many were out of state?
Well, the out of state was through Texas A&M Forestry Services agreements. So they, in our wildfire season, there's pods that travel around. I think currently we had the Oregon, Montana, Wyoming group were here in Texas. In the past, we've seen them from Colorado, but they just travel around. But and then they came in. We had assets coming out of Beeville immediately when Chief McAllister made the call and started doing things at the incident command level. The call was answered. When I got on scene for the salt flats fire, the dozers were already arriving from Beeville. The call had already gone out to Abilene for the air assets, and it don't take them that long to get here. But those were the small air assets. If you'll recall, they weren't
Power Cubs. I said they weren't Power Cubs.
Yeah, well, but they were smaller ones. So for the Myrtle fire, that was a DC-10. That's a big airplane. The load that it dropped, it could drop 3 loads on the DC-10, and the loads that on any one of those was more than was laid down at the entire event on the Myrtle fire, and it like 3 trips from Austin. So they can really do a lot of good in a short amount of time when we call them. I'd like to have one stationed here. They make an air tractor. They call it a SEAT aircraft, SEAT. That's an acronym, but it's basically it's a crop duster that's outfitted for firefighting. And there's all kinds. They're all around. They're in Fredericksburg. They're in Lufkin. So I would absolutely advocate for having one here local that is just managed right out of our airport that can jump on a fire anytime we need it to. So, but there again, that's a little farther down the road than where we're at right now.
Mike, I had a couple of members of the public pose a question to me about the retardant. It is environmentally.
I can't speak to it at all. I don't know anything about it. I saw
Oh, wow.
I saw a little pig houses, I'll tell you that.
That's my question about the.
I know in the Myrtle fire, they were so accurate with their drops, and the wind had laid a little bit at the time that the planes were in on the Myrtle fire. Yeah, they laid it right across the street, and no retardant got across the street. In this fire, the entire time, they were dropping from as low as they could go. I'm sure that I watched the retardant drops spread over a large area. So yeah, it made it save the house, but I know that Kool-Aid stain that it leaves on there does wash off pretty quick.
All right, thank you.
And I also want to say one more thing. AEP was out, those guys were everywhere. You know, firemen would go and AEP would already be there, you know. So they're really stepped up. They really did. That's my short time.
All right, move on to reports about community and items of community interest. No action will be taken. Anybody? Upcoming events? No? All right. All right, I'll take a motion, accept the motion to go into closed session.
We need to
Yes.
Yeah.
move to convene in the closed session to consult with counsel and receive legal advice about pending and contemplated litigation, settlement offer, other attorney-client privilege matter. Listed below. Ramsey County, Texas versus Endurance American Specialist Insurance Company et al., the Ramsey County District Court cause number 23-0021 and Star Recovery Services Incorporated versus Ramsey County Independent School District and Ramsey County District Court cause number 23-0066 consolidated with Star Recovery Services. The HR&R LLC et al. Ramsey County District Court cause 20-0159 and Western Steel Company versus T2J Partners LLC. Whatever die/AFPS Recovery LLC and Aransas County, Texas, cause number 24-0072 in the 36th District Court of Aransas County, Texas, and Old Castle Building Envelope Incorporated, DBA Graham Architectural Products, Sharp Glass LLC et al., Aransas County District Court cause number 24-0099 and permissible actions under the county contract with Field Construction Company and iWord Q Systems Incorporated, a Utah Corporation versus Aransas County, Texas. Case number 240100226 in the District Court of the First Judicial District County of Cache, Utah. And Went Services Incorporated Public Information Act request, Texas Government Code number 551071, also known as the Texas Open Meeting Act, authorizes closed session meetings to allow for governmental bodies to consult with an attorney and receive advice on legal matters pertaining to pending and contemplating litigation, a settlement offer, or a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the government body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Open Meeting Act.
Got a motion and a second.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castleton.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenit.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Hi, all right, take about a 5-minute break and go into closed session.
Commissioners.
Okay, wait for.
Yeah, let's get
What are we waiting for?
the camera. All right, we're ready. We're ready.
I move that we reconvene back into our second session.
Got a motion in a second?
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castellane.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
All right, we're back into open session. Then we'll move on to item number 38.
I make a motion to approve exercising the right under the contract to hire independent consultant and inspector and authorizing the county auditor's office and the county attorney's office to start the procurement process for the Richard, right?
I'm sorry, sir.
The courtroom millwork, fire suppression system, and the Texas Jail Master Commission standard work and authorizing Lockheed purchasing if needed. Second.
Got a motion in a second.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castellane.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak.
Aye.
Judge Garza.
Aye, motion passes. And that is it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castellane.
Aye.
Commissioner Dukenyak. Judge Garza.
Hi. All right, thank you. Wasn't that bad? Right before lunch.